Because let's talk about this shit, because this shit is so fucking true. A lot of Hispanic and Latino parents will literally try to teach you at a young age to not be friends with black people, and it's fucking disgusting. They show you racism, anti-blackness, like colorism at a fucking young age. You could be a dark-skinned Latino, and yet you will get a lot of fucking hate. Not only that, media will even fucking show that shit too. Where literally they show that white Latinos are literally rich, smart, educated, and they're always holy. But when it comes to black people or Afro-Latinos, they're ghetto, they're poor, uneducated, and they're criminals. And not only that, a lot of these celebrities believe this shit too. And also, they do blackface. And that's why a lot of people don't want to unionize when it comes to the Hispanic and Latino community, because of the amount of fucking anti-blackness, the racism towards black people. And not only that, y'all forget that literally black people have influenced our fucking community so much. From technology, from food, to even music. And some of y'all bitches be dancing to those music that literally were influenced by black people.
It's what we are not the same people. We are not the same people, and that's a black man. Whether you like what he's doing, which is his job, whether you like that he's doing his job, he's doing his job, and you're saying, "Oh, I'll spit in your food and I'll do this to you," and blah, and then you using the N-word, bro. This what I be talking about. So like, nah, bro, ain't no such thing as a collective. Ain't no such thing as black and brown. And honestly, we know how a lot of people feel about us as black folks anyway. So again, if we say we're opting out and we don't want to speak on what's going on, we don't have to. Because one thing I know is when something happens to black folks, where y'all gonna be? Are y'all gonna lift y'all voices up? No, you're not. As a collective, no, you're not. You're not. Because historically, you never did.
Talk to her right. I said, let me tell you something. You got to watch what you say, because you never know who will understand what. So now she's probably snapping. Did he understand me? So I tell her in Spanish, yo soy cubano. Yo soy cubano. So now she's snapping. Oh, he understand me. Now she's trying to justify why she said what she said. Mm-hmm. So I'm gonna say,
yo, what up, my 1751 family? I'd like to thank you all for tuning in, man. For those of you who have already smashed that subscribe, I'd like to thank you all, man. I take my hat off to y'all. You know, y'all unwavering support is very much appreciated, man. And for those of you who have yet to smash the subscribe, what are you waiting for? Go on over, man, smash the subscribe, man. Do yourself a favor. You won't regret it, man. Don't forget to hit that bell notification while you at it. Anyway, today, man, we gonna get down to business, man. You know, we're gonna touch on this trending topic, man, that's been trending for about the last week or so. You know, due to these protests. You know, you got the No Kings protest, and you got the immigration, you know, deportation protest, where you know, they're protesting against ICE. You know, for those of you who are not familiar with the term ICE, which I'm quite sure a lot of you are, for those of you who are not familiar with the term ICE, this is an organization, this is actually Homeland Security. You know, they are ordered directly by, you know, President Donald Trump to go in and find as many illegal immigrants as possible, as Donald Trump promised he would do. Now, you have a lot of black folk, you know, making TikToks in a response to the TikToks that are being made by a lot of Hispanic, you know, men and women. In these TikToks, they're referring to black folks as not doing right by them. You know, they're encouraging black folks, you know, black African Americans, to hit the streets with them, man. To hit the streets in solidarity, you know, and march and protest and whatever else they got in mind, you know, to try to make an example and to try to leave a footprint as they make history. But the problem is, a lot of us Black Americans, we are hit to a lot of the tactics and the strategies that everybody use, you know, against us. You know, these days, a lot more of us are waking up. You know, a lot more of us are waking up, man. We're not so easy to be swindled. You know, we're not so easily, you know, used by everybody, man. You know, we got our own issues within our own communities. We've been dealing with our own pain, you know, trauma. You know, we've been neglected. We've been trampled all over by the U.S. government. You know, we've been through a lot, man, as Black folks. You know, we've been through a whole lot, man. And a lot of us, we are responding to these TikTok videos that are made by Hispanic and Mexican, you know, individuals who are fighting for a cause which a lot of people are on the fence about, you know. And when I say a lot of people are on the fence, a lot of Black Americans are on the fence, you know, about getting out there and fighting for this cause, because when you really look at the big picture, a lot of these Hispanics and Mexicans, they are some of them are illegal. They're illegal. They came over here, they've done everything the right way, they got their papers, you know, they are now citizens of this melting pot, you know, so they say, like they call it, the melting pot, right? But yeah, some of them are actually legal. They belong here. They went through all the steps. You know, they build a great life in this country, and they are welcome. And whether they're welcome or not, they earned their right to stay here, right? But the problem is not those people. The problem is a lot of these people, they are fighting for a cause that they know is wrong from the start, you know. But they tend to overlook the fact they don't want to hear what Black folks are saying and why Black folks are saying that they're not hitting the streets. You know, we're not hitting the streets. Now, getting down to it, man, this whole protest against ICE, although I don't condone ICE coming in, breaking up families, and just moving in you know, total disregard for the way they handle people, right? I'm not for that, because I understand, you know, a lot of these people that work for ICE, they are sent in directly by Donald Trump, and they're sent in with arrogance. So they understand that they're over the police. These people are Homeland Security, you know, Homeland Security, you know. But my people, Black people, I'm seeing, you know, a lot of back and forth on TikTok, man, about, you know, we're not getting out there with the Hispanics because back in, you know, during the pandemic, when we had our marches about the George Floyd protests, you know, we didn't see any Hispanics and Mexicans. And to my dear Black people, I want you to understand this. That is not a good reason not to stand for a cause with another race, you know. Although some of you may feel like that is, right? They didn't stand for us, I'm not gonna stand for them, right? But there are many ways to look at these situations, man. You know, this situation, man, is so dynamic, man. It's a big discussion. It's a big topic to discuss, man. You know, the separation and the divide, the division between Black and brown people. You know, Now, I know throughout history, uh, you know, the brown people, they have fought for, they have fought for their rights to be nearer or to be considered white and not black, right? But although they fought for that, in reality, they let you know, smack dead in your face, that they do not accept you as being of them, right? And that is not the only way that they show, See, because one thing about white folks, man, they have many ways, man, to get to the point, and sometimes it's direct, and it may make you feel uneasy and unsettling, right? And other times, man, they they swing from the dark. They swing from the dark, man, and they have you scratching your head, man, and asking yourself 100 questions. Do they mean this, or is this, am I tripping, or is this what they're trying to say? Things like that. But not to get way off the topic, right? But I just want to bring it back around to the reason why black folks are on TikToks responding to Latino, letting them know that this is not our fight. Now, I know that could sound callous, that could sound, just downright, disrespectful, to some, this is not our fight. But obviously, when you think about it, it's not our fight. Now, although that may make some people feel uneasy, that's the truth. It's the truth, man. This is not our fight. Now, if there are black Americans who have Hispanic friends, they love their friends and they take it upon themselves, they feel like they want to get out there and, stand in solidarity with their Latino, counterparts, then that's fine. That's fine. Nobody has a problem with that. But to call black folks out as a whole, to put our bodies and ourselves on the line, when we know that throughout history, anytime we put ourselves on the front line, we get they prop us up as the poster child for all the negative that goes on within that protest. These were black folks. This stuff didn't start happening till the black folks came into the protest. And a lot of us black folks, we understand that, and that's why we stay in our black asses home, right? We stay in our black asses home, man, because we've learned, man, that we are always the scapegoat. We always somehow become the scapegoat when we stick our nose in other people's business, right? Now, although they gave a lot of foreigners the right to come in here, they gave them the right to come in here the right way. They gave them an opportunity to come in here and do things the right way and to become U.S. citizens, right? But if a lot of you remember, when they was trying to successfully give these people an opportunity to come into this country and build a great life for themselves and their family, there were a lot of foreigners who were, they were sneaking in, man. The border was under pressure. A lot of them was coming in through the water. They was crawling across swamps and streams of, water. They were coming across all kind of different ways. Before Trump left out, Donald Trump left out his first term, he was so obsessed and in love with the idea of building this wall and keeping foreigners out of this country, right? But Donald Trump when he when it came time for election, he lost that fight, right? He lost that fight to Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, right? When that happened, everything that Trump was obsessed with, everything got spent on his head, almost as if Biden and the Harris administration was going against everything that Trump stood for and everything that he tried to, dictate and everything that he tried to bring into to play. Biden and Kamala Harris, they had one term, a 4-year run, in which in that 4 years, so many people, I think it was thousands a day, were sneaking into this country. They were sneaking in.
There will not be another foot of wall constructed in my administration.
A project launched under President Trump that hoped to curb immigration, and one that remains one of the most expensive and controversial border projects in U.S. history.
Many of them, they snuck in and they were successful, right? Now, there were many different nationalities who were coming in. You had the Mexicans, you had Haitians, you had the Venezuelans, and when they snuck into this country, the crime rate went up. You have a lot of foreigners, riding around on mopeds, stealing cell phones, snatching pocketbooks, robbing people.
Pulls down this sidewalk. Suddenly, she's attacked by purse snatchers on a moped. The assault in Brooklyn sends her falling to the ground, and the creeps get away. In this shocking footage, a purse thief on a scooter targets an 86-year-old woman standing on a corner in Manhattan. The heartless crook drags the elderly victim before making his escape.
Friday, the first attack caught on a security camera released by police. A 64-year-old man walking in the Chelsea neighborhood of Manhattan doesn't notice two men on mopeds approaching him from behind. One man gets off, allegedly grabs the $12,000 Rolex on the man's wrist, yanks it off, and appears to push the man to the ground. The victim runs after them but can't keep up with the motorized scooters. The man suffered a few scrapes but refused medical attention.
You have multiple rapes in New York City, by foreigners, illegal migrants, right? And we also had situations where police officers were being, assaulted. Also situations that occurred in New York City, where the police officers were stomped. A lot of you may be familiar with that incident where they jumped on the police officer, stomped and kicked them on the head and everything, and then they thumb their nose up at the law. They're all over the news channels, and they got clips and videos of them throwing their middle fingers up. Which us Black Americans, we understand that is something that we would never be able to do and get away with. While Black Americans are here in this country fighting the big fight of trying to get equal rights and equal justice, we're fighting for respect from the same law. Understand this: as Black folks have been getting slaughtered and lynched by these white police officers for years, for decades, right? For us to see the Biden and Harris administration let a bunch of illegal migrants in, and then to be able to witness them assaulting police officers, the same police officers, the same law enforcement that's supposed to protect and serve, the same ones that kill a Black man, within 6 seconds. Yeah. We are damn right. We're mad, man. We want something to be done, because if the police officers can do this and get away with it, then what do you think illegal migrants can do? And you have to understand, illegal migrants are not being sent into white communities. They are being sent into every urban community around America. They're sent in our communities to mix with us. And a lot of them don't like us. They don't respect us. They coexist with us, but culturally, they don't really respect black folk. And we understand that. We understand that. Although we conversate with them, we understand that underneath of it all, man, they do not respect us as a people. They don't respect our people as a whole, right? Now, getting down to the reason why we're not on that front line, it is not because they didn't get on the front line with us back in back during COVID in the George Floyd and Breonna Taylor protests. That is not the reason why we're not getting on the front line with them. Because if I can recall, I've seen a few Mexicans and Puerto Ricans out there. I was in those marches, here in Philadelphia. I was down there at City Hall when the police cars got flipped over and the banks got broken into. The TD Bank was broken into. All the stores was being looted. Although I didn't participate in that activity, I was down there, part of the peaceful protest. I was in those police officers' face. I was very emotional because I felt like that was a turning point where all my people were starting to stick together. And I was one of those guys, man, that was down there yelling all in the police officers' face. They held a shield up between me and them, but I was yelling all into that shield, as if I was talking to a damn brick wall because they were looking at me like, I wasn't even standing there, But that's not the reason why we chosen not to jump out there and stick our nose into y'all business, right? The reason why we're not inserting ourselves into these ICE protests is because we are not going to be bamboozled into thinking that that fight is a fight that we should be involving ourselves in. This fight is over illegal migrants being sent back home. Now, it is not our fault. It is not our problem that these people snuck over here illegally and they got a job and they made kids, and they got a nice new house. That's none of our business. Whether you got a nice house, whether you just made a new family over here, whatever you did over here after you snuck into this country, you are here illegally, and that's the bottom line. And as U.S. citizens, man, us black folks, we understand that this fight is not worth us fighting for. You understand? Because these same people who ICE is looking to deport, these same people, they look down upon black folk. If you had to ask those same people who are getting deported, if you had to ask those people who do they think they are closer to, white or black, I can almost guarantee every single one of them will say white. Now, I want to close this off by saying this video is not to bash anybody, because there's a lot of that going on. I'm not making this video to bash any Hispanics or Mexicans or any other race, right? But what I will say is every race have their own fight. And black folks, when we get out there and we hit those streets, we come together. I don't know how. Thanks to the power of social media, that we are updated on events and where to meet up at. So thank God for social media. Although social media is also used for so many diabolical things, man. Social media is a thing that it could be great and it could be horrible. you know. But when it comes to pulling together these protests, it is a beautiful tool, you know. But to give a shout out to all my, you know, my Hispanic and my Mexicanos, you know, to give a big shout out to all my Spanish and my Mexicans out there. I salute y'all, man. You know, as y'all go and fight, y'all fight, man. But this fight, when we say this is not our fight, this is not to disrespect you or your race. We are simply saying that we have our fight and you have yours. Now, I also heard people say that we need to stick together as black and brown people. As long as we fight each other and separate ourselves, you know, and segregate ourselves from one another, it only gets easier for the white man to bamboozle us all.
But what they don't want us to do is unite, because all them streets that you see right now in Los Angeles, New York, and so on, guess what? If we come together, they will be even more full. Every square footage of them streets will be completely covered. And they don't want that.
Although that you know, that could be an argument. But black folks, the way a lot of us look at it, man, is when we fight our great fights, man, we take so many casualties, man. You know, a lot of us get shot down. And our fights, anytime black folks hit the streets in great numbers, it has always been about whether police brutality or gentrification, and you know, it always has some type of cause. But most of the times when black folks come together and protest, there's usually because a police officer killing an unarmed black person, you know, and that brings us together with heavy hearts, you know, and we hit the streets together, right? But this ICE protest is not in any way, shape, or form compared to the fight of the black, you know, African Americans. This fight that is going on here, you know, is a fight for illegal immigrants to be able to have privilege, to be overlooked, and to be given the opportunity to stay here, even though they came here illegally. And that is not how things have run in America. You know, everyone here in America has consequences for our actions. And just as we have consequences for our actions, there should be no exception for illegal migrants. And I'm going to close it off with that. Anyway, it's your boy, Mr. 1751, bringing you another 1751 review. And until next time, y'all stay up. Hey, if you enjoy watching videos like these, make sure that you like, comment, subscribe. Help your boy get into the algorithm so that I can continue to bring you more videos just like the one you just watched. Anyway, until next time, y'all stay up.